Good afternoon, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives, taking a moment from my lunch break to talk to you about something that I was ready to explode about. Fancy that. But I think it's still very important and still very explosive. First things first, do you even know what a libertarian is? Do you know what a libertarian is? Libertarians despise the state. They want small to no government, minimal government. They only want to protect capital. They want to protect property owners. They consider tax force. They consider tax theft. They do not want big government programs. They do not want a New Deal. They do not want a Green New Deal. They do not want the state involved. They want the free market to solve everything. Okay? They are small government to no government people. So when someone tells me that MMT is a libertarian thing, not only do I know I'm dealing with somebody who is lower in the gene pool than a tadpole, but I'm also dealing with somebody who is an ideological dullard. Okay? So let's talk about why MMT is, first things first, it's not an ideology. It's not a theory. It's not all this other stuff. MMT is a description, keyword, a description of observable facts. Okay? MMT is a description of the way federal financing works, the real financing works. And we are able to, like a surgeon, dissect these bills, dissect Trump's tax bill, dissect all these different aspects of government funding. And we're able to dissect the way the economy works and to show you when it'll go in recession, when it won't go into recession, and why. So when someone says that MMT is libertarian, you know that person is dull as a spoon. You know that they're just being antagonistic. You know that they're not being a real human being. They're being a bot. They're being unworthy of conversation. A libertarian doesn't want you to tax them. Why? Because they consider tax coercion. Well, guess what? By definition, MMTers that support MMT are statists. Do you understand this? MMTers are statists because MMT describes a state currency. MMT, modern monetary theory. MMT. This is what is our federal finance. This is the way it's done today. It's not some future system. It's not some alternative system. It's not something that maybe someday would be good in theory. It's not something that, well, maybe it looks good in theory. No, it is the way it is. And so when you hear people say we're broke, you know they're lying. When you hear people say we can't afford to have a New Deal, you know they're lying. When you hear people say we got to reduce the deficit, you know they're lying. When you hear people talk about how important it is to reduce the national debt, you know they're lying. MMT is a description of how state currency, about how currency works anywhere, but in particular, how a free-floating sovereign fiat currency works, how it actually works, and how it actually works in the United States, Japan, Russia, Canada, the UK, Australia, etc. Okay? So when someone says that we're libertarian, because we tell you that federal taxes don't actually pay for spending, so you don't have to raise taxes to pay for a program. Taxes serve a very important function in modern monetary theory. Taxes drive the need for you to have currency. But they do not in any way, shape, or form actually pay for the spending that goes on. It's a circuit. So if you imagine the beginning of the circuit is government spending, the end of the circuit is taxation, where it's deleted from the system. New money is spent into existence like it didn't even exist 5 minutes prior. And now all of a sudden it exists. Why is that? Because the government owns the dollar. It created the dollar. It's a law. It's a patent. It's the sole issuer of the currency. And before some idiot tells me about the Federal Reserve is a creature of Congress. Federal Reserve didn't come and invade the United States. Congress wrote a law, the Federal Reserve Act, and created the Federal Reserve. You see how that works? So in any event, we are not libertarians. Libertarians want to end the Fed. Libertarians don't want taxes. Libertarians don't want a New Deal. Libertarians don't want any of this stuff. They want you just to leave them alone because tax is force, man. Tax is theft, man. And that's not what MMT says at all. MMT says that taxes don't pay for spending, so stop hijacking a New Deal based on how are you going to pay for it. We deficit spend. Does that mean taxes need to go up someday? Absolutely not. The national debt is merely savings accounts at the Federal Reserve, simply selling treasuries. They sell treasuries, they're time boxed. 10 years, 30 years, they keep their money out of circulation. That's it. Nothing more than that. It's their already existing US dollars. China can't buy US treasuries and Chinese renminbis or yuan. They can't buy US debt with a Japanese yen. They can't buy US debt with gold coins. They can only buy US treasuries with US dollars. So we need to stop with the libertarian stuff because it makes me literally lose all respect for you. And number two, we need to be very sure of why we're saying this. This is a description of how the economy really works. And it destroys the mainstream myths that keep the 99% starving and hungry. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, telling you that MMT is in no way, shape, or form libertarian. Have a good day, everybody.